Pittsburgh Steelers fans, we are back and better than ever. Who are we? We are your Monday night hangover crew. And yeah, there have been some hangovers recently here at BTSC and in all of Steeler Nation. My name is Bryan Anthony Davis. Alongside me is Shannon White and Tony Defeo. One's the pride of West Virginia. The other is the Carafton's favorite son, not named Bill Cowher.
Right.
So, gentlemen, how are you this evening?
Well, I'll speak for Shannon. I am doing great. And how about you, Shannon?
Hey, doing good. Doing awesome, coming off a victory.
Yes, it is actually a victory Monday. And I used to love with Tunch and Wolf on Mondays, they would always go, it's Victory Monday, and they'd all celebrate. And once again, rest in peace to Tunch. And it's Victory Monday here, and we're going to celebrate with that kind of fervor. And you know what hangovers are all about. There's two types of hangovers. They're the hangovers that Shannon White and Tony Defeo have had. They're celebrating all night. Life is great. You know, they're having a great stretch of luck. They go out to celebrate, have a little too much, but they wake up the next day and say, that was awesome. Then there's the Bryan Anthony Davis bad hangover where everything sucks. You drink to numb the pain away. Well, not now, but it was like that. It was like that a little bit ago. And, you wake up and you're like, oh, what have I done? And the Steelers have had a few of those. And they were named Green Bay, Cincinnati, and Vegas hangovers. And the Vegas hangover, you always have a good hangover in Vegas. Right. Green Bay, you have a good hangover because there's cheese involved. Cincinnati, there's nothing good about Cincinnati.
Well, there's that
hung
show.
Over there. What's that?
There was that show.
WKRP. No, that's classic. That's great
right.
stuff.
Yeah.
That is absolutely great stuff. So, and hey, look, we've got Terry Glover watching from West Virginia. I lived in West Virginia for 9 years. Absolutely love that state. I am a native Pennsylvanian, lived there for 23 years of my life. Now I'm 16 years here in Maryland, and I love this state too. But you never go away from the black and gold, and neither am I. And look at Shannon. He's so black and gold. He's got Cobra Kai on. So that's awesome. And that's perfect. We got a little ESPN action there. What's that?
Can't wait for season 4.
Season 4, what, November, December, it's coming out. So, those shows come out on Fridays, and my 50th birthday is on a Friday, December 3rd. What a gift that would be if I could have Cobra Kai on that day. But hey, we got a gift yesterday, and it's not a gift of a win. It's a gift of the Steelers getting off the schneid. They earned that victory. It almost slipped away, but there's reasons for stuff like that to happen. But I'm celebrating. I'm feeling awesome about the Pittsburgh Steelers and their 27-19 victory over the Denver Broncos. And I say, because don't know who the Denver Broncos were coming into this game. Were they the Denver Broncos that were 3-0, or were they the Denver Broncos that were 3-0 against teams that were a combined 0-9 at the time when they beat them? So that's something that you've got to think about. But that's a good defense. And now when I said that on the postgame show, a lot of people were like, how's that a good defense? That wasn't a good defense what I saw today. You have one of the best defenders in the game who's having a fantastic year, Von Miller. His stats are almost equivalent to that of TJ Watt's. TJ's are just a bit better in every category except for total tackles, where Von Miller had the lead on that. But the Steelers went ahead and put that on Thursday online, the comparison, the tail of the tape, if you would say, if it was boxing. And I tell you what, they were comparable. But Von Miller also has a great defensive backfield on that defense as well to work with. And I got to tell you, the Steelers looked very good against them. When they started to flounder at the end, they couldn't put it away, but you had some key injuries on that offense. I'll start with you, Shannon. What did those injuries mean to that fourth quarter as things were starting to slip away?
I don't know if Harris, if cramps is an injury. They said he was just cramped. They said he was just cramping. You seen him trying to stretch it out, but they missed him terribly. He had everything they established, which you have to give the offensive line credit because they finally started moving bodies, opening, running lanes. He's run hard every week, but the lanes wasn't there. Yesterday they were. Everything positive that Ben did was a result of the running game finally getting them in better down and distances. So the biggest loss to me was Harris just being out of the game, and that they couldn't put the game away at that point.
All right, Tony. So Najee Harris had a fantastic game on the ground, had a couple catches as well that were very important. But when he came out, when they spelled him, and they spelled him before he had to exit due to the cramps, but Kalen Ballage would come in, Benny Snell Jr. would come in. It's a far cry from what you get with Najee Harris. So, right. Tony, is Najee Harris one of the most indispensable guys on this team right now?
Oh, there's no question about it. I mean, you saw him on Sunday. He looked like Le'Veon Bell. I mean, the patience he showed before he hit the hole, and of course, you know, the catching passes out of the backfield, that part of his game. And it's clear that they're starting to design the offense around him now, as he's in his fifth game already, and they're already starting to design things around him. So I think it was huge for him to go out in the fourth quarter, and they couldn't really sustain drives. They couldn't put the final. Benny Snell just came up a yard short on that final drive. Maybe if Harris is in there, maybe he gets that extra yard.
All right. So you have the glory of victory and you have the agony of agony, which is an injury. And that feels like a loss. And it's Juju Smith-Schuster, who is has some conflicting accounts, but he's out for the year.
Right.
And there was some conflicting accounts on whether he had surgery last night, whether he's having it today, but it looks like he's out for the year. Now, news came out this morning that Anthony Miller, former second-round pick of the Chicago Bears, a tough wide receiver that played one game this season with the Houston Texans. He was a free agent, and he was going to go ahead and sign with the Jacksonville Jaguars for their practice squad. And that seems to be the way things are going with veterans. Veterans sign to the practice squad first and then get elevated. So then, I don't know what's happening. What's he booking a flight to Jacksonville, to Duval, and his agent notices something, or he notices something and calls his agent and says, hey, I know I'm on my way to Jacksonville. I know we've talked to him, but wonder if Pittsburgh's interested because they just lost. It looks like they're losing Juju. Now, I'm just guessing on the scenario that probably happened, but that's a lot better destination to go to than that mess that is Jacksonville right now. Shannon, what are your thoughts about that?
It's always good if you can get a proven veteran. He's been no better than a number two, often a number three on a bad Chicago Bears offense during the Trubisky years. Having a guy with his experience to come in and replace Juju, that's a devastating injury for the young man. Hate to see him go out like that. He always played so hard, and that's how he got hurt, trying to run over a guy to get some more yardage. And, you know, those things happen, but it's good to get a guy with his experience. BTSC's very own Andrew Wilbar has been high on Anthony Miller ever since, you know, the pre-draft process. So the Steelers are getting him just a little bit later than what he wanted, but they showed interest prior to the draft that year too. So it's good to get a proven veteran who's known for being tough and having a good work ethic.
All right, let's go ahead and look at the tail of the tape here. Second round draft pick from 2018 for the Chicago Bears. And he had 54 targets and 33 receptions his rookie year, 85 targets and 52 receptions his second year for 656 yards. And then last year in 2020, 76 targets, 49 yards. Allen Robinson's the clear number one there in Chicago. He ended up with Houston this year. Played in 2 games, started 1 for the Texans, 5 receptions, 11 targets on the year, and then all of a sudden does not have a job. So he has to pass a physical first, but he just put out on social media black and gold hearts. And that tells you all that you've got to know. But in his NFL career, which is basically 3 years and a little bit of pocket change, 12 touchdowns. So here's the thing. The Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to ask this question first. I'm not going to ask this question to Tony. Do the Steelers even have a number 1 receiver?
I think it's Chase Claypool.
Okay.
I think he's their guy. I think the offense looks so much better. Well, him and Deontay in there at the same time. I think that really helped the offense on Sunday, the passing game. But I think Chase Claypool is going to be a superstar. It's just a matter of time, and I think he's their number 1 guy. Now, there's so many ways you can define number 1 receivers. Is it the guy who gets the most catches, or is it the most dangerous weapon? You know, when Hines Ward was here, he was their most prolific receiver, but Santonio Holmes was probably their most dangerous receiver, their quote unquote number 1 receiver. But I think Chase Claypool could be that kind of guy, like the Santonio Holmes kind of receiver.
Okay, so some people are thinking that it's Deontay Johnson, and you could argue that it's Deontay Johnson, or you could argue that this is a stable of running backs. This is like your 4 horsemen. All right. You've got 4 good wide receivers, and on any given day, any of them could be the number 1 receiver. And that's the way I felt with this stable of Juju, James Washington, Chase Claypool, and Deontay Johnson. And now you mix in Cody White, you mix in Ray McLeod, and you might be mixing in Anthony Miller. But Tony, I'm going to ask you this question. Do you need Anthony Miller to be anything more than a number 3 receiver?
No, I don't think you do. I mean, I think if he comes in there and gives you anything close to the production that you mentioned over his first 3 years, even if it's the least of his 3 seasons, I think that would be all that they need. I mean, if Johnson and Claypool are if they have the kind of years I think they can have, provided the offense continues to improve off of what it did on Sunday, then I think you only need him to be number 3, and maybe James Washington can step up and be that number 3 guy, and Anthony Miller's just a nice number 4 receiver.
Yeah, and Billy Johnson says, what about Washington? He's the clear number 3 guy. And yeah, he is. But what you need to look at is, as long as you have 4 quality receivers on the field and you mix in a couple other guys, you're in good shape. Now, I want to preface this. I am bummed that Juju Smith-Schuster is not in there.
Absolutely.
I am bummed for the young man. I am bummed for the team. I love what I think Shannon hit on the head when he says Juju is a hard, tough player. And he is. He's in that. There's some Hines Ward in him as far as that goes, as blocking and toughness. And I love what you get. And I think he's been reliable. But the fact of the matter is, and it's sad, you've got to be sad for a second and then move on.
Right.
And that's what happens every time. That happened 2 years ago when Ben went out. I mean, you've got to look to next week all of a sudden. Just like the Seattle Seahawks, who do not have 2 losses. They have 3 losses. And that joke you're going to hear all week because of a mistake that I made 2 years ago. But Seattle, with their 3 losses, they come in with Geno Smith. Geno, you followed some West Virginia football. I mean, Shannon, you followed Geno West Virginia football, I'm sure. And he was a lot better in college than what he is here. Am I correct?
Oh, he was lights out in college.
Yeah, not so in the pros. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because you could be sad about Russell Wilson going down, and then you got to be like, okay, we got to look to next week. And that's the problem with the business, and that you don't want to discount the feelings of this young man. And I know no one feels more horrible that he's out than Juju Smith-Schuster, and he's a warrior. He will work to get back. But it's probably not coming this year, especially if they put him on the list. So that happened yesterday, but the big thing that happened yesterday was on the field, fellas. And we need to talk about that. We need to talk about the fact that the Steelers came out for the second week in a row, and they scored not just a field goal, they scored a touchdown on their first drive. They went 12 games without doing it. In game 13, they did last week, and last week they struck early, and it was the same guy, and it was the play that I hate, but it worked. I hate third down, throwing that 3rd and 1, throwing the bomb. I hate it, but man, how can I complain when it works?
Right.
So it definitely worked there. So when you saw that against this defense, Tony, happen right away in that first series, not only did they get that, they also got a first down to Chase Claypool in that series as well. And when you saw the way they were moving the ball and they scored, what was your immediate knee-jerk reaction of what was going to happen in this game against that defense?
Well, I thought if they could be consistent on have a balanced attack, then it was going to be a good day for them. And I think you saw that on the first drive, and then of course it culminated with the touchdown to Johnson. But they had to build on that. The problem with the Green Bay game is they didn't build off of that. They just kind of sputtered and really didn't do much of anything until Najee scored the touchdown in garbage time. But yesterday I felt good considering that they were at home. They were going to be able to build on that first drive, and they ultimately did.
Mr. White, would you agree that the Denver defense is far much better than that of the Green Bay Packer defense?
Definitely. Green Bay doesn't have anybody with their injuries on the edges that can match what Denver's running out there. Harris is a very good defensive tackle, which was another tough matchup for Kendrick Green, and he played an excellent game yet again. Everything stems, any success, I've said it all along, is going to be what the offensive line can provide. And they are showing steady improvement each week, which bodes well for the future, especially against, regardless of Denver's, who they've played, they've won the game. That's all you can do. You can't, it doesn't matter who you played. The Steelers were 11-0 last year, and they beat a bunch of cream puffs before their warts and all started to be revealed. You just got to go out and win the game, and Denver had done that so far. And they're not a bad team, especially on defense, and the Steelers performed very well against them.
So I want to bring something up here. And I tell you what, I'm loving the live chat tonight. A lot of excitement in the live chat. But I want to bring up Eric Askew first. The fact that they shut Von Miller down was a testament to the fight they had in them yesterday. Then we've got Tyler W. and Steeler Chick also saying basically the same thing. We have won 18 straight games or something when we have 100 yards rushing. And I'll bring up Steeler Chick too. Having the Steelers won like 18 straight games. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all along and all of last week, I think every show on BTSC, when the question was, what do the Steelers have to do to win this game? They've got to start with opening holes for the running game. When they open up holes for the running game and Najee gets going, then Ben could do some play action, which we saw some play action yesterday. Ben can do what he needs to do with so much more fervor. And I think it all came into fruition yesterday as you saw that running game get going and an offensive line opening up holes. And we're probably going to see some more holes being open up if there's a return, and I believe it's going to happen soon, of Zach Banner, because you're talking about a running specialist. He is a very good run blocker. So that's something that we expect to see soon. Now, I will go ahead and say this. I haven't been receiving criticism from this, but I've seen the criticism of people that have been criticizing Chuks Okorafor. I'm one of them. I hope week after week Chuks Okorafor proves me wrong. I just don't love his game. And that's all I'm saying. Go ahead, Tony.
No, you have to give him credit. Like Kyle pointed out, you have to give him credit for what the job he did on Sunday. I think he was the guy most responsible for blocking Von Miller, and Von Miller had you barely heard his name called yesterday. So that's a testament to him. I mean, so yeah, you have to give kudos to him. I think Zach Banner might be the better choice ultimately, but yesterday Chuks really showed out.
And so that is absolutely correct. And I will say that too. So I look at things like the fact that he was offsides a couple times. Mm-hmm. And I actually, Jeff lambasted me for this. And I probably should have gotten taken to the woodshed for this one. I'm like, yeah, he was scared. He looked scared out there against Von Miller. But when you look at it more and more, and that's what knee-jerk they asked me about my knee-jerk reaction. And that's what knee-jerk reactions are, immediate. Then you get a chance to think and see about it. Still not in love with Chuks Okorafor. Mm-hmm. But I noticed what he did in that game. And I noticed what he did 2 years ago against one Aaron Donald, the heavyweight champion of defense in the NFL right now. And so I've got to give him credit for that. As a pass blocker, he's a lot better than he is a run blocker. And that's so in fair and equal balance, he did his job against Von Miller and they opened up some holes. But what happens when everybody's healthy? Who is the odd man out? And that is what we are going to find out very, very soon. So, gentlemen, what I want to do here, and well, I guess I am softening as I get closer to 50, Kathy. Bad softening on Chuks and Pittsburgh Dad. I am definitely on the Pittsburgh Dad bandwagon now. And I want to get Pittsburgh Dad on this show.
Oh, my God. That would be so great.
I would. Tony, work on that. Producer Tony, put your hat on. I would love to have him on the show because I tell you what, I on board. It took me a while to get on board. Just like it's taking me a while to get on guys like Chuks. But I'm trying. I am trying. I want to bring up Wes because he always has good insight on this too. I mean, if Chuks played better, that's good. I don't want Chuks to suck, but if he's going to, he shouldn't be in the starting lineup. Wes, that's exactly what I've been trying to say. I think, would you guys agree that's what I'm trying to say?
Right.
About Chuks?
Right. But here's the thing. It's like a Bud Dupree. Look at how long it took him to finally get it. What if Chuks he's like a late bloomer and he gets it in his fourth year now? So who knows? I mean, all I'm saying is yesterday's game was something for him to build on.
I think, yeah, that's just tough for me. Shannon?
Chuks is 24. He was young coming out. I've been saying all along that he's got excellent athleticism, balance, really good feet. The whole question in him is his intensity and his effort level. We've talked about it before. Yesterday he looked like what I expected him to look like earlier in the season. Twice now he's went up against Von Miller in his career and played better than he has when he plays somebody. It's like he gets up for the big games and he plays much better. And then in the other games, he doesn't show that same type of effort.
Right.
It's with him, it's not athleticism, ability, it's his effort. And he's so inconsistent that way, it's maddening. But if he could work out and he could improve that intensity and find a comfort level with the rest of these guys on this young offensive line, he would be a solution to a big problem that the Steelers have.
I get that. I'm just wondering if it's going to happen. Sean Manahan says, just tell Chuks that it's Von Miller on the other side of the line. Yeah, which is really funny. Yeah, but we need you to go up against the Larry Ojungubis or whatever his name is. We need you to go. We need just not great games. Don't just play up to the competition. James Galway claims that Chuks played better because Bad watched the game shirtless.
Wow.
And yes, I hate to put that on you, but thanks.
How does he know that?
Yeah, how does he know that?
Because I'm an open book.
Okay.
No, gosh, gentlemen, people come from all around to my house. It's like the Today Show. They stand outside the Today Show and watch me watch the game, like the Today Show outside my window. And they just stare at me and they cheer when I said it on the preview yesterday.
I was going to say that sounds an awful lot like that one song that Eminem sang years ago.
What's that?
Dear Stan. That's what it sounds like.
You know what happened? I wanted to take a shower right before the game, and I did, and it was the last second, and I couldn't find my shirt, and I'm like, you know what? I'll go get my shirt in a little bit because I think I was going to wear Joe Hayden yesterday, and so then next thing you know, I sit down. I have jeans on. I promise you I had jeans on. I have pants on now. You can't tell, but I do. But so yesterday I'm there and things are going well without a shirt. So guess what? I'm like, I'm not putting, my wife's like, where's your shirt? And I'm like, I don't have one on. And you're just going to sit there like that? I'm like, yeah. And I did. And I kept it off because they were doing well. And so Jeff asked me what shirt I was wearing, and I had to be completely honest. I was going shirtless. So it was true home team. It was my home team uniform. So me sitting there with man boobs and all. Yeah. Gosh, I tell you what, that story just got us $4.99. I want to thank Monster19 $4.99, and that's a happy dude. I love Monster. That's the first I've seen Monster shirtless bad giving Sapphire a run for her money. You can tell Monster's a fan of the show. Yeah, maybe I taught Sapphire some moves. I don't know, but I think we are going south when we see Tyler W saying no Monster. But I got to bring up, I love how happy Monster is in this picture. This is awesome. You can't see it if you're listening on the audio side, but this is a happy dude. So I love it. Clarence Washington. Clarence is now going to sleep after that bad, so I do apologize. So anyways, let's go ahead. We got to take a break now. We've got to give you guys a chance to recover from burning it in your brain that I was there shirtless. So, so now with the Ravens game tonight, I see Aaron Butler in the mix, and hey, we haven't turned off Aaron yet, and we're going to try not to turn off Aaron tonight. But our resident Ravens fan that shows up thinks the Ravens are going to roll the Colts. Should I go shirtless? And cheer for the Colts. Maybe I should do that tonight since it's working.
I'll do it with you.
All right, there you go. So we're all. Jeff said, I said I almost went shirtless on the show, but I got a jersey. He goes, I don't care if you go shirtless on the show. All we care about is download, so that's fine.
Right. Whatever it takes.
Ron Chess, bad. I lost my appetite last week when you brought that up. Sherry Richards says 7:30 p.m. shower next week. Bad. I hope to shower a lot earlier than that. But I love it. Senior Slim. I haven't seen Senior Slim in the live chat in a while. I love you, Bad. I don't care what they say about you. Yeah. Obviously, I don't either. So let's take a break. You guys, be right back. If you are on Facebook or YouTube, let us stretch. Let you stretch. And then if you are checking us out on any of the podcast platforms where you download your most favorite podcast, I hope BTSC is the label on 1 or 25 of them. And if that's true, just go on over to number 2. It's as simple as boop. So we will be back right after this. It's the Hangover. It's a happy one. It's BTSC. It's Tony, Shannon, and Bad. We will be right back. Welcome back to the Hangover. I am Bryan Anthony Davis. He is Shannon Edward White to my right. He is Tony Julius Defeo on bottom the way he likes it. Woo! It is a great day in Steeler Nation. Well, I mean, Mrs. Brady was on the bottom there, wasn't she? I mean, in the on the Brady Bunch. That's all I was saying. Perverts, come on now. So, anyways, what I was saying is we are back. We're feeling good. We're having a lot of fun because the Steelers won. But here's the question: I gotta ask you, all of you, on Facebook, on YouTube, if you're just in your car on your commute, I want you to ask your question this. Ask your question this. I want you to ask yourself this question. And the question is this: are you off the ledge now? Or do you still need to stay out there for a while? Is this Les Nessman in episode 4 over all of WKRP when he went out on the ledge? How I know that, I don't know. I'm sorry. But is there a reason to stay on the ledge right now? Or you're feeling good? Shannon, let me start with you.
I'm encouraged. I usually don't get too. I try not to overreact to any loss or any victory. Each week, 2 weeks in a row, the offensive line showing improvement. We'll open up everything, as I keep saying. It's part of the plan. It was part of the plan from the beginning. We've tried to preach patience to anybody that would listen, knowing that there was going to be offensive struggles to start the year, especially. Not even counting the injuries to the defense that really put the team behind the 8 ball. But very encouraged. I've never been on the ledge, though. So I am encouraged that they can use this to build off of. And if they can win this upcoming game, get back to 3-3, have the bye week, get some of these nagging injuries hopefully healed up some, I think they're heading in the right direction.
So let's talk about this a little bit, because the question on the Steelers preview the other night was this: are the Steelers on life support? And this was going into this game. And I think, did all of us pick the Steelers this week? I didn't look at the article.
Yeah.
People picked the Broncos? Guys from PTSC?
It was 3, I think you picked the Broncos.
Really? I got to go ahead and bring that up and check that out. Mm-hmm. I just looked at this game, and I looked at the 0-9, and I thought this was a very winnable game. I don't know if I would have thought the same way if it was in Denver. But I just thought the way everything was shaken out, that this is poop or get off the pot. And this is the opportunity to win. And I really feel like with this game going in, if they lose to the Broncos, not only are they on life support, but you're calling in the family. We didn't call in the family yet. There's no reason to call in the family. Then they lose against Seattle. You're 1-5. Then it's last rites. It's like, all right, let's go pick out some caskets.
Yeah.
And pick out some pictures and call everybody in and plan a funeral. But that is not what had to happen. We talked about how the Steelers made a run in 2019 without Ben Roethlisberger, without a few players, a beat up team. Didn't they lose Stephon Tuitt for a majority? They lost Stephon Tuitt in week 6 in 2019. So it was one of those things that they almost made the playoffs, and then they faltered the last 3 games of that season, but they really made a run. They ended up going from 1-4 to 8-5, and then eventually 8-8. Now, you get the gift on Thursday night, and I'm saying a gift, but I hate it. I do not like to cheer for anybody's injury, and I'm not cheering. But this is just like with Juju being out. This is facts. Russell Wilson is out. And this makes Seattle a very winnable game. And as Steeler Chick 46 says, Seattle does not have a good defense. Mm-hmm. And they don't. And someone just said, Mark Tobin. I love Mark Tobin. Watch Gino go Joe Montana on us. Yeah, it's possible. But I think at home in prime time, I think they pluck the Seahawks. I really think they do. But this isn't a preview show. All I'm saying is This is a team that could be going into their bye week at 3-3, and it's very conceivable. So, Tony, were you ever on the ledge? I was a little bit on the ledge. I was like, I was kind of opening the window and putting my foot out a little bit, and testing the strength of it.
I was heading to the ledge. I never really got quite out there, but I was heading there after those after the first 4 weeks and how they looked on offense, and it didn't look like anything was changing. But as we saw on Sunday, they really had a great game plan. The line played fantastic. They beat up a pretty good defense. They were productive in the air and on the ground against a really good defense. Ben looked sharp. Obviously Harris looked fantastic. Claypool looked like a weapon, the weapon I think he can be. And Johnson looks like he usually does when he's rolling. So I was never out on the ledge, but I was encouraged by what I saw yesterday. And I know it's not the preview, but the Seahawks, that game, it wasn't you don't cheer for injuries, but it definitely is a break for them and something they have to take advantage of, not having Russell Wilson. And I guess it's another example of how you can't really, when you look at that schedule in the offseason, it never quite pans out the way you think it's going to pan out. And who would have thought they would avoid Russell Wilson? And from what I understand, the Seahawks they're near the bottom of the league in both pass on defense against the pass and against the run. So maybe it's another opportunity for the offense and the offensive line to continue to improve.
So I'm looking at the live chat here, and there's a lot of people that are cautiously optimistic. But I want to bring up Mark Tobin again. Just always seems like the game we should run away with turns into a trap game. We have seen it. New York Jets, Tampa Bay Buccaneers of like 2013, the game Dave Schofield was at with, Mike Glennon at quarterback. Tyler W says we're not out of the woods yet. Yeah,
well, of course not.
we're not. Steeler Chick 46 says one game at a time. And guess what? Since they're playing Seattle this week, that's the game we could talk about. So that's cool too. Then there's Monster 19. I gotta just keep bringing up Monster because I love how happy he is. He is how I feel right now. This picture of Monster, he's like, yes, and get the oil ready. Time to fry some birds. I tell you what, I have no problem with the Seattle Seahawks, but the Sea Chicken fans hate us. They are so bitter from that Super Bowl. And I thought that after they decided to pass the ball on the 1 yard line instead of just let Marshawn just pound it in 4 times in that Super Bowl, I think they should be more bitter about that than the Super Bowl 40 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But man, they cannot stand us. They hate us. We're like, it's Seattle. They had some good years. Seattle. That's kind of the way it feels. So with that being said, I guess there's some people that are going to still live on the edge, and that's fine because we have no problem if, and I don't even want to call you pessimistic, but I want to call you've been burnt in the past. People have been burnt by this team too. And I get it. I understand that you feel like you've been burnt by this team, and this is the Pittsburgh Steelers I'm talking about again. I was talking about Seattle, so I just want to clarify that. But you know what? You can still be on the edge, but cautiously optimistic. And that's the way I'm approaching this game because I have turned around. I have completely turned around. I'm like, this is what we've been calling for. This Denver game is what we've been hoping for, and it came out. I don't care about the final score almost being 27-25 or 27-27 going into overtime. I don't care about that, and I want to talk about that a little bit. Was that game slipping away, Shannon, or was it just the fact that you're playing in a prevent and you have 2 of your biggest weapons on offense, and I consider Juju a big weapon on offense, down?
That was part of it. They was trying to be aggressive and finish the game. The Steelers like to go soft zone with a lead, and allow the completions in front of them and try to stop, make the tackle short of the sticks. But Denver kept going for it on fourth down. And before the game, they were perfect on fourth down. And I think they converted 3 or 4 straight fourth downs against the Steelers. The first fourth down that didn't work was the final play of the game, the interception in the end zone. The defense, that's just how the Steelers play defense. And you'll have PFF give the Steelers cornerbacks and secondary guys terrible ratings because of that, because every completion, and they come out and make the tackle, they give them a bad grade on it. But that's what they're doing, their responsibility and what they're asked to do. I think they would have put the game away if Harris had been available, because he was getting 4 and 5 yards every carry.
Mm-hmm.
And they were starting to really establish it. You've seen the hesitation because Snell and Balaj is not the same runner, not even on the same level, even close to Harris. So that was big. They actually got through the adversity though, because we talked recently that they'd lost I don't know how many home games in a row besides the Colts game that they pulled out in the second half. There was starting to be a stigma of trying to win at home. They kept struggling, especially towards the end of the game. So there was a lot to that victory. And I'm like you, I'm looking for improvements more than I am the victories a lot of weeks. But this was a must-win situation. So they should really be able to feed off this and have a lot of momentum and growth, hopefully.
Tony, thoughts?
Oh, I mean, it's always tough to put a team away in the NFL. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater is a pretty darn good quarterback. I mean,
I think so.
Yeah, he's so good that people wanted him to come here in the offseason. He was one of the guys that fans wanted to bring here. So, and some of those throws he made, those sidearm throws, I didn't know if I was watching Teddy Bridgewater or Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he was really making some decent throws. But, you got to remember too, not just the injuries on offense, but they lost Devin Bush in that game, and that's a big deal. Kim Sutton was already out, so but at the end when they had to, they stepped up and made a play. James Pierre, everybody loves James Pierre, and he hasn't had very many good memories yet. He's been doing okay for himself, but he's given up a couple of long touchdowns, including yesterday to Cortland Sutton. But when the game was on the line, if I'm Teddy Bridgewater, I'm going after James Pierre, the baby cornerback, and he was in perfect position, and he made the play. So they bent all throughout the fourth quarter, but when it came down to the end, they didn't break. So
we're going to start a new tradition here. And I'm so sad that you mentioned James Pierre because of this.
I'm sorry.
Because I know what's going to happen when Mr. White gets to take his proper place and get on his look at James Pierce soapbox. So we're going to do this. It's called the Hangover. It's kind of a drinking theme to this show. And so we're going to have 2 awards every single week. The first award is the good award, and we're going to call it the Hair of the Dog Award. And the Hair of the Dog Award is for the guy we're going to toast tonight. We're going to toast one guy from yesterday's game, and we each get a pick. Then we're going to have the guy, we're just going to call it the Cut That Guy Off Award. And this guy that had way too much, and he's just making a spectacle, and he's having a bad night, needs to go sleep it off. Let's call it the Go Sleep It Off Award. That's even better. So boy, this is my production meeting. I just had it 30 seconds ago in my head. So we are going to go ahead and do that. And so, Shannon, I am going to let you go first with let you do the Hair of the Dog Award. And in fact, we know you're going to talk about James Pierre. So I'm just going to do this.
Yes. Pierre is what I thought he was, and I've been predicting since last year. Once he started getting some playing time, he's playing very well, aggressive. He's having to he's been put in a situation with Nelson being released and then Sutton being injured. he's had to step up, and he's been taken a lot of the times. He's been matched up with at least the number one or number two receiver for the opposition, and he has gotten burned on a couple of plays. That's part of the inexperience. He's nowhere near as slow as everybody thinks he is. Yesterday, he run down Williams, the running back for Denver, that many Steeler fans, including myself, was wanting the Steelers to hopefully get the chance to draft in the second round this year. He's got decent speed, Williams does, and he made an incredible tackle to save the touchdown. And he run him down. It was hustle, but it also showed his athleticism. I thought that the interception, he was in good position. He'd been burned with that earlier. You got to have a short memory on the bad plays, but you also got to learn. He learned from that and was in perfect position to end that game. And so, yeah, I'm very, very excited about him. He's only going to get better with more experience.
All right. I kind of made you pick him. And would have you picked him anyways?
Maybe not.
Okay. That's fair. And for those of you who are listening to this on audio, when I said I'm going to do something, Tony and I just ducked out. We went off the screen and gave the entire screen to Shannon by himself and left him by himself. So that's exactly what we did. Tony, you're up, my man. Who's your hair of the dog? And as Josh Parker mentions, Nazareth, Hair of the Dog. Great song. Do you remember that song? If you're a DVE guy, you know that song. Don't go messing with her.
Nope, don't know that one.
Son of a boop. You don't know that song?
I've never been much of a DVE guy. No, more.
Classic rock. You're not a classic rock guy?
I like some classic rock, but I usually listen to. I'm more of a adult contemporary guy. Andy Grammer, those kind of people.
There you go. Shannon, you know that song though, right?
I have heard it. Yes.
Don't go messing with her. Okay, so there we go. I digress. Tony, go ahead.
It's probably the easy choice, the clear choice, and that's Najee Harris. I think it was a big day for him yesterday. Not just a big day, but an important day, not just for him, but for the line, and demonstrating that they can do it. They can run the ball and can do it consistently and control the game that way. And I mean, you saw how dominant he was, 5.3 yards per carry. And that's a testament to him and his hard running, but it's also a testament to the line and the holes that they provided for him. And, you know, when it just shows when you have a solid, potent ground game, how more dangerous Ben can be. And he was, I mean, look at how effective he was with the 15 passes he completed. You know, he averaged 10.1 yards per attempt. So that's the kind of Ben that we know and love from the past. Not the 5.9 yards per attempt Ben. It's the big Ben, the 10.1 yards. That's closer to what you need from a guy like that if you want to be competitive. So Najee Harris gets the award for me because he means so much to what this team, what this offense can be if he's the real deal.
You know what? I can't argue with that. I'm not going to go with that because there's other guys to toast, and I have no problem with that. I really want to toast Ben Roethlisberger, and I really want to toast Chase Claypool. So I'm going to, it's my game, so it's my award. So I'm going to just take both, and I'm going to toast these guys both because they were in sync. They were Justin and Joey and Chris. Chris was from Pittsburgh, by the way. And who do we got? No one cares the rest of the NSYNC guys, but. You know, I know Tony knows him. He's an adult contemporary guy. He knows that. The blonde guy, Lance. And then
yes, right.
JC. Okay, I got them all. I got all five. And now we're gonna look in the comments later on the YouTube comments, and they're like, "Why are you talking about NSYNC? You loser, bad. You suck." And yeah, I'll get that, and then that'll be fine because I like talking about other stuff too. But I gotta go with both of these guys. They had it going. I don't know if Chase Claypool just loves playing Denver. Man, he goes off against Denver. I mean, if you can play like that every week. But I really, and Nate got trades just said Claypool's still coming to his prime. He's still learning the game.
Right.
And I got to tell you, I just feel like that second level is about to be reached, where I think he's on his way to superstar status. And I'm wondering if the Juju injury makes him even more closer to a number one guy, which, as I talked about earlier in the show, you don't need a number one guy when you have these guys. As long as you have these guys, you lose Juju. Hopefully James Washington is healthy and steps up. Hopefully Anthony Miller comes in and does something. Hopefully you get some production by a Cody White and a Ray McLeod or a Rico Bussey, if that's Shannon's other guy. If Rico ends up coming up, Shannon's going to lose his mind. Right. I mean, he's going to have James Pierre and Rico Bussey. And this is something I always talked about with Troy Polamalu and Hines Ward. 43, double it, you get 86. For Shannon, it's 42, double it, you get 84, and that's Rico Bussey. So we're going to go ahead. We are going to go ahead and now look at the what did I call this award? I forget it already.
You've
cut this guy off.
Yeah, something like
cut
that.
you off.
Yeah, cut this guy off award. And so I think it was something. I think I found something better. I'll have to go back and listen to it. Maybe if you guys were listening to me, let me know what I named the award. But the cut this guy off or whatever I came up with award, I'm taking it first because I'm going to channel Wes Hickok here, where he said in all caps, "Can they cut Benny Snell already?" Actually, I think that's going to happen. And I like Benny Snell. He's a great guy. He's done some good things for the Steelers, but not this year. And I really don't love the way that he's running. I think there's a huge drop off when you get him in there, and I think you actually have a better chance when you put in Kalen Ballage. And Kalen wasn't great yesterday either. Najee Harris is a step above. And that's why when Tony said earlier, yeah, he is indispensable, he is right now. So I am going to go ahead and my cut this guy off award. I still don't think that's what I called it. But anyways, the award is going to go to Benny Snell Jr. Shannon?
You stole my guy. You stole everybody's guy.
You could just say agreed, and that's fine.
Agreed. I think that's everybody played so well. I'm so proud of them. I don't want to say anything bad about anybody. It was a great team victory, but Benny Snell is just he's got back-to-back weeks. He's had a special teams penalty, drop passes. Is not reading the field. He's not reading. He's blocking. He's the kind of guy that needs volume carries that he's not going to get. Hopefully, when McFarland comes back, we won't see Snell anymore.
Alan Prophet, congratulations. He got it. It's the Sleep It Off Award. Thank you. That's what we're calling it. Alan, I love you. Thank you so much. Man, it just went out. But when you just come up with it in the middle of when Shannon's talking, I guess you don't get a chance to write it down. Tony, are you going with Snell?
Actually, I'm going to be different. I'm going to go with Ray McLeod. A lot of people are calling for Ray to be, he's going to step up. He's a receiver in name only. I mean, I love the guy as a punt returner. I think he can do some exciting things if you get him the ball like on jet sweeps and stuff like that. But he's just not a receiver. And you can't count on this guy to be your number 3 or number 4 guy. And I think you saw that yesterday. He's really not effective in that role. So to me, it's Ray yesterday. I mean, you needed some plays from him after Juju went down, and you just didn't get anything. When Ben did target him, nothing happened. So it's Ray, and I hope he goes back to his old role as being just a punt returner and the occasional gimmick guy.
So I'm going to ask you this. Are you fine with him still on the roster? Because I am. I'm fine with him in that special teams role.
Oh yeah.
Even though I was pining for Deontay Spencer, because I love Deontay Spencer. 2 years ago when they cut him, I was practically in tears. I was like, no, you can't cut him when I saw him yesterday. In fact, Dave Schofield went to the game and he sent pictures to Jeff and to me on the live chat because of our crushes. I guess our player crushes. He sent a picture of Presley Harvin III to Jeff, and for me, he sent me Deontay Spencer, and it was a good picture. I was like, there you go. But Ray, I love Ray as a special teamer. I think Ray is tough. He's like 77 pounds soaking wet. But do you see what he did to a nose tackle yesterday? He clocked him. He nearly knocked him out.
Yeah. Right, yeah. He did that with that first game. Did he have or was it the first game of the year where he was taking on one of the Bills defensive linemen? And
it was the first game.
Yeah, he's a bulldog. But I mean, he's a dynamic punt returner, so I think he's the best punt returner they've had since AB's heyday. But as far as a receiver, I mean, no, not yet. Maybe miracles can happen, but I just don't see it. But yeah, I don't want him. I want him to remain in that role. I think he's really effective in that role as a special teams guy.
All right. So, I mean, I get that. But I mean, I'm thinking, man, he is tough. And I got to say this, Mule Skinner actually said that I was right. Bad, you were right last night with your take on Chuks. See, I've got somebody on my side.
And Mule he's tough. He's a tough critic.
Mule's no frills. Yeah, he's a good critic. He's a smart fan. He's a very intelligent fan.
Yeah, so if he's agreeing with you, that's to me that I take that to the bank.
Yeah. Yeah, Mule's the kind of guy that if he says, "Hey, go eat at this restaurant," it's fantastic. I'm going to eat at that restaurant.
Exactly.
Because he's a tough customer.
Right.
And so I definitely appreciate that. That's great. Breaking news, and this really has nothing to do with personnel or anything, but this bums me out because if you know me, I love Al Michaels. And Al Michaels just announced that he is not going to call the Steelers game. It's going to be Mike Tirico next week. So we don't get Al Michaels on Sunday Night Football, and I'm bummed.
Is there a reason why? Is it just one of his days off, or?
I think he's winding down. I think he's going to be retiring soon, and I will. So Dave Schofield just put on our Slack channel that he thinks Tirico's better. I just love Al. I'm the guy that loves. I love Collinsworth too, and everybody.
Collinsworth is great. Collinsworth he doesn't get the respect he deserves in Pittsburgh because he used to play for the Bengals, and everybody thinks he hates the Steelers, but he's a really good color analyst.
Shannon, where are you on Collinsworth?
He's very knowledgeable. I always view him as a Bengal because I watched him when I was young, play for them. That he was so tall and had that long neck and the helmet sitting up on top. And, he really stood out. But he was a good player. He's a better commentator. He doesn't really bother me all that much. Certain guys do. Phil Simms drives me crazy. But
I hate Phil Simms.
Yeah, he drives me crazy, especially the ones that are obvious haters. I don't feel like Collinsworth is that bad. So it ain't like I turn the volume down when he's on, like some people.
Yeah, I absolutely love Chris Collinsworth when he's on. I was bummed that Al and Chris weren't at the Olympics this year. And because my wife was looking for him, and she doesn't follow a lot of football. She watches the Olympics religiously, and I do with her. And she's like, "Where's Al and your guy?" I'm like, yeah. So there's people that don't like Collinsworth, and I get that. Hey, check this out. Is that a Euro? That Alexander Pert? I remember Alexander. I haven't seen him in a while. Love you guys. Your witty chats always make my night. Who's your favorite player so far this season for the Steelers? Let's answer that. 449, and I believe that is euros, right?
I think so. Yeah.
All right. So who's your favorite player this season? Shannon, we'll start with you.
My player for years has been Ben Roethlisberger. That hasn't changed.
But for the 2020,
I ain't saying he's been the best Steeler this year. But he's my favorite. So I think that was the question, right?
Yeah, it's favorite for so far this season is the question.
Well, if it's this season, based only on this season, I would have to say Cam Hayward.
Oh, damn it. Sorry.
Great minds.
Cam's on a lot of lists.
Well,
I think he is the biggest heart on this team.
Oh yeah.
Everything.
Well, he's starting to find his way into the discussions with, being in the same class as Aaron Donald now. You're starting to hear that. He's up there with him as far as best defensive lineman in the NFL. So he's just been so consistent, and he's had so much of a load on his shoulders with Tuitt and Alualu both going out.
Yeah.
It's just. I mean, and he played a great game again yesterday, and they're looking to double team him. They have to. Why wouldn't they? If you have all these younger guys, these lower pedigree guys in there alongside him, and he's just been holding his own. So yeah, Cam's my favorite.
I want to go a couple ways here. I think for 2021, I'm going to take offense and defense. Offense, my favorite guy this season has got to be Najee Harris. I love every time the man touches the ball. I like everything that he does. I just get scared every time he touches the ball. Not because I don't worry about him fumbling. I just worry about him getting hurt because that's just what I worry about. On defense, there's another guy that is becoming the heart of that defense. Not saying that Cam's moving over. I'm not going to say that the obvious guy is a slouch because I love him too. I love everybody. I just love this team, and I always have. But I still love them despite the warts of a 1-3 start. But Minkah Fitzpatrick to me is playing some fantastic football. You're just not seeing it on the stat sheets as much. When I see Minkah out there, I see nothing but true heart.
Yeah.
And I love absolutely everything that he's doing this year. I think he has become a true Steeler just because he wasn't drafted into this team. He's a Steeler for life at this point. And it feels like he was never in Miami. It really does. Shannon.
We can't forget Terrell Edmonds.
Yeah.
Yesterday he shut down Fant, who's a really good tight end for the Broncos. He's excellent in that role. He played a really good game. He's solid. He's not spectacular or flashy, but everything that we get from Fitz, a lot of it is because of that camaraderie, that connection, the chemistry he has with Edmonds, and they play so well off each other. Just like, again, I always think back to Polamalu and Clark, but Edmonds had a really good game yesterday, and I don't want to fail to mention that.
Yeah, you know what? We should, and thank you for bringing that up. Snowman also brings up Chase Claypool's Gosh, I love everything Chase Claypool does right now, too. Sure, he's only been in the end zone once, but he's very important. I think he's going to actually I think he might be in the conversation for Steelers MVP at the end of the year. And I think I think he's going to really come alive as well.
Ben's got to hit him.
Yeah.
Ben's missed him a lot of times this year. He would have had more than one touchdown. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and I get that, and I think he's going to really come alive. I think the whole thing's going to come alive. I really do. So with that being said, live chat, what a great night. If I didn't get to mention your comments, I do apologize. They're talking about right now Colts 7, Ravens nothing, so I'm loving that. Where's Aaron? Where's our resident? I'm sure. Why is he listening to us when he could be watching Wang Harbs and the Ratbirds? So he shouldn't be watching us. So and he's not coming back now if they're losing. But the minute they take the 14-7 lead, which they will, he'll be back in here going, "Hey, where's everybody at? Hey, Ravens, woo!" I'm sure that's gonna happen, but that's fine. So it's a great night. We are feeling awesome. I hope this feeling remains. I hope next week we are celebrating again. And Clarence, Colts inside the 20, Craig says Colts on the 18 about to score again. All right. I'm out of here. No Monday Night Raw for me tonight. I'm going straight to Monday Night Football. And that's going to be on the we'll have to throw Raw into the picture-in-picture, and Monday Night Football has to be prominent. So I'm excited. But, hey, I love all of you in the live chat. It's fantastic that you're here. Thank you for supporting us. Lifeblood of BTSC. We're just the guys on the screen, but we're fans just like you. So we thank you so much for giving us an opportunity to come into your Steeler worlds, and we love it. So thank you so much. For Tony Defeo, for Shannon White, my name is Bryan Anthony Davis. And to quote some wrestling legends who I'm not going to have anything to do with tonight because I'm going to go watch some football, just when you think you've got all of the answers,
we keep changing the questions.
Woo!
Good night, my friends. Let's keep this love fest going. We'll talk to you next week.